Hi there. So I'm going to talk to you guys about the Remarkable 2 device today. I purchased this about 2 months ago, and like many people who purchase their devices, they just fell in love with it. They fall in love with it, and so did I. I loved writing on it. I loved the feel of it. But as time went on, I started having a lot of problems with the accuracy of the device, and the problem was that wherever I would touch the pen isn't where it was writing on the screen. And that would cause distortion of the writing and also inaccuracy of drawing lines. You couldn't even draw a straight line. So that was really disturbing to me, and I thought there was something wrong with the device, and I did some online searching to look for answers. And I found that over the years, a lot of people have had problems with their Remarkable 2 device with distortions and also inaccuracies. And I've read a lot of frustrations that people have expressed and also some solutions that people have advocated. I've tried a lot of those things and nothing really worked. I did contact service and they were going to return the device and exchange it for a new one. But as I did more research on the topic, I realized that that was probably not going to solve the issue because this is just part of the design of the Remarkable. And so if you are experiencing some of these things, I will show you how you're able to fix this and what causes this and how to prevent it from happening. So to do that, I will show you a close-up of the screen and do some testing, okay? All right, so here I have the Remarkable device, and I also have a Supernote here, which I purchased because I was going to return the Remarkable, and that way I could compare the two. I may make a different video about why I'm keeping the Remarkable and comparison with the Supernote. But in any case, I'm leaving this out to show you as an example. So here is a Supernote, and let me first tell you what the issue is. The issue is in the accuracy of where you are writing or drawing on the tablet or trying to versus where it is actually writing. So here, for example, I will try to show you some dots that I'll draw or lines I'll draw. So here I'll try to draw right on this line, and this is pretty good. That area is pretty accurate. Let's check over here. So here, for example, when you look, it is completely off the mark. It may be about a millimeter. Sometimes it's more than that. You see here it's completely off. So as I'm drawing, the line is being drawn above and to the left of the nib. And so this can cause a lot of problems when you're writing, and depending on how sensitive you are to the accuracy of your nib and where you're writing. For me personally, this was quite disturbing. And then as I started drawing or writing, making lines, I realized I could not even draw straight lines on the Remarkable. And that was very surprising to me. So then what I did is I took a ruler and tried drawing with a ruler because I figured I must not be keeping my hand straight. This is a plastic ruler, so it shouldn't affect anything. And so here I'm going to draw a line, for example. And that's what that line looks like. Well, this line obviously is not a straight line. And especially using a ruler, this should be a very straight line. So here's some other examples as I'm drawing parallel lines to show you what it looks like. You see these areas right here are distorted. So when I'm writing in these areas, the writing would also be distorted. That's what's happening in this area here. If I draw lines over this way, I'll erase this and draw some lines here and see what these lines look like on this side. You see, look how bad these are. So does it make any sense that you can't make straight lines on the Remarkable? Well, For comparison, let's look at the supernote and let's see what that does. So here I'll just draw some examples of dots here. These seem pretty dead on. The writing seems very straight and accurate here. So I will draw some straight lines. And let's see what these lines look like. I did do some here before I started the video, but just as an example. Okay, these are straight lines, and this is what it should look like. These are lines on the remarkable. Like, how pathetic is that? So as I did more and more research by looking at posts from Reddit and all sorts of sites, which spanned almost 2 or 3 years, people were posting about these issues with the remarkable and their frustrations at how inaccurate sometimes the writing was. And it was very frustrating for me to see that, because there were no good solutions to this. And I'm thinking, this device is so nice and I'd love to use it, yet it's got this major issue that's causing problems. I also realized that it's not a problem for everybody, but it was enough of a problem that a lot of people wrote about it and complained about it. And I come to think that this is an issue with almost all the remarkable devices. And some people are just more sensitive to it, and some people may not notice it or may not affect them. So there was different kinds of solutions that people had proposed. The most consistent solution was to use the side of the pen, which has a magnet side, and to slide that across an area that was causing a distortion. And so I will try that on here. I'll do the close-up view again and show that and see if that fixes it. It does fix it in certain areas, but it never fixes the whole problem. And I've learned from doing these tests that it can cause problems in other areas of the screen, and I'll talk to you about why that happens. Okay, let's take a look at this area right here, which is quite distorted. And what I'll do is I will take the side of the pen, which has the magnet, which is this side right here, the flat side, and I will rub this across the screen. And now let's see what happens. I'm going to erase these lines right here, and then just try to redraw the lines and see how these lines look in that area. Well, I don't think it helped much. I'm not sure if the lines look better or worse, but in some situations, depending on the direction that you're going, it does work. So I've read also that you can, if you hold the pen in a certain way and just go up like that, that will fix it. So let's look at that and see what happens. That really did not fix much either. You see that? So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and that's what I was reading, and that's what my experience was. In any way, even if it does fix it in one area, there's areas in other spots of the screen that are causing a problem, and then you might see changes in different areas of the screen that you don't expect to see. So as I learned more about this, I realized that this is because of magnetism. And the problem is, or whatever the design is of the remarkable, it is magnetic to begin with. So a magnet will stick onto the screen. You see that? So if you place a magnet on here, which is this pen, it does stay on the screen. And so the screen itself has magnetic properties. If it is in an area with a magnet, it will magnetize the screen. This is very different than other devices. Here, there is no magnetism on the Supernote device. Similarly, there is no magnetism on the Kindle Scribe either. I'm going to show you my Kindle device for comparison as an example. Here is the Kindle. And so now let's take a look and see here what happens. There's nothing, there's no magnetism here either. If I go to a notebook on the Kindle and draw lines on here, I'll show you what these lines look like. So here, I just drew some lines a little while ago, and look, these lines also look very, very good. All right, so I also learned that if the remarkable device or some of the other devices are in a magnetic field, it can affect the writing because it works on the technology that senses the position of the pen works on some electromagnetic fields. So that's understandable. However, when the magnet is removed, or if this is removed from the magnetic field area, that issue should resolve. That does resolve for normal devices which don't have a magnetic screen. However, for the remarkable, it doesn't. So in my case, what I learned is I was having problems with this because when I was transporting it in my book bag, I would put it in the same bag that I would have my Kindle in. So I would carry them typically just like this, one on top of the other. And sometimes I would have it sitting on my laptop. And sometimes when I was writing, I would take my pencil and just simply rest it right on the screen, just like you would with a normal pencil on paper. Unknowingly, all this was causing problems for the remarkable because not only does the screen get distorted when it's in a magnetic field, but it basically magnetizes the screen. So even if you're not around magnets anymore, it will stay distorted. And that causes this ongoing problem of distortions and wiggly lines that people talk about and they are having problems with. And so the idea is to somehow get rid of this magnetism on the screen. Supposedly, Remarkable on their website does talk about some magnetic issues and that once you remove a magnet, that eventually this resolves. I think it does over many, many days. But if you don't know how to prevent it, you'll constantly keep developing new problems, so it will go on forever. If I leave this alone and test it out daily for the next week or so, maybe these lines will get better. But knowing that there is a magnetism issue, I thought about trying something that might work. And I thought about demagnetizing the screen with a demagnetizer. And so I did that. I actually purchased a little electronic demagnetizing device that is used for demagnetizing little metal parts or watches. And you basically plug it in and press the button, and it generates an electric field that demagnetizes items. And so this particular device has a surface of demagnetizing surface up here. So the thing you want to demagnetize has to be here. So to demagnetize a screen, I turn it upside down basically, and I run it across the screen. So I'll show you how I do that in real time, and then we'll see if it makes a difference with the lines. All right, so this is the demagnetizer, and again, this is just my own experimental process. Do this at your own risk, or don't do this at your own risk. But if you press the button, it verifies that it's turned on. I removed the Remarkable from the case because I don't want to potentially mess up any magnets that are on the case. And I also kept my pen away because it has magnets in it, and I'm not sure what else magnetic in there that might get demagnetized and not function properly. So in any case, I have my Remarkable just sitting on the tabletop. And so what I'll do now is I will press this button. It'll hold this upside down, and I'll just go over the screen for about 20 seconds. And then I'll erase some of these things, and then we'll redo them and see what happens. Or I'll start a new page, and we'll see what happens here. Okay, here we go. So now it is turned on, you see, just like that. And I'm just going to hold this about 1 centimeter above the surface. That's about maybe 12 seconds, 15 seconds. And that's probably close to about 20 seconds. And now I will stop. So I've turned this off. And then the idea is that this is demagnetized. And now I'm going to get my stylus here, and then we'll just start a new page. Okay, so now I will use the ruler and draw some lines. Let me put the case back on again so that there is no change in that variable. Okay, here we go. So the case is back on again as before. It was folded under, so I'll do that. Now let's draw lines right over here and see what they look like. Okay. Ah, beautiful line. Very nice. You see that? Okay, that looks pretty good. And let me see what the other lines were here also, a little further. And let me check this area right here. Okay, this is perfect. And so exciting to see. So doing the demagnetizing works really well. Now, let me just show you how to reproduce this effect. So here is a magnet. I put a piece of paper on there so I don't scratch the screen. So I'm just gonna put the magnet on here for a little bit. Maybe mess it around, move it around. Okay, now I will move this magnet away. Let's erase this part and let's see what these lines look like here. So as you see, they're already getting distorted, and these are not going to get fixed up by themselves. Maybe again, after a number of days they will, but in this area, your writing will get distorted. And so for right now, I'm just going to demagnetize that area, and then I'll talk to you about how to prevent the problems from happening. And let's see how this works now. That's working really well. You see that? All right, so I hope this was helpful for you guys to learn about what the problem is, why it happens, how to fix it, and now let me talk to you about how to avoid the problem from happening. So now that I have the screen demagnetized and it's working fine, all I really need to do is to keep it away from my other electronic devices. And what I have found is instead of keeping my Remarkable right up against my Kindle device or my laptop when I'm transporting it, I simply keep it in different pockets of my book bag. So my computer and Kindle, for example, are sitting in a different area of my book bag, and then in a different pocket, maybe separated by a little book, is my Remarkable, so that it stays away from the direct contact of magnets. Unfortunately, that's what it requires. And it works really well as long as I keep doing that. You might notice little distortions here and there. They don't really affect the writing all too much. However, the more you expose this directly to magnets and have the screen magnetized, the inaccuracies accumulate over time, and depending on how bad it is, then you can demagnetize the screen. It's been working really well for me. I am so thankful that I found a solution to this terrible issue. I hope one day that this is just a fix as part of the device, but who knows? As of now, because I like this device so much, I am okay to put up with this issue as long as I know how to fix it. So I hope this helps you guys also. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.